Welcome to Taking Care of Business with Freddie Fix-It Santori as they bring the power of AMP2.TV video format to the radio. Today's show will have interviews and concepts that bring you, the public, closer to how real radio and television work hand in hand to bring the best platform to sell your business. Tune in on the WWNNradio.com website or follow AMP on AMP2.TV website to see radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first show of First and Goal with Greg. I'm Frederick Santori, and I have here with me
Greg Francis, and we're very excited to be here. We're going to talk all sports for a half an hour. We're going to dissect the National Football League, hence First and Goal with Greg. And I'm here with Freddie J as my sidekick, and please feel free to call in, and we're going to have a great time tonight.
The number here is 561. What? 561 1470, I believe. 88565 Okay, 88565 1470. It's actually been a while since I've been on the air, and
we're gonna be ready to go. We spoke about last week. We spoke about the Jets, and we almost needed jet therapy for the people that just couldn't take losing week after week after week. And as you know, they won. So you would figure that would make some Jet fans happy, Freddie J, but the answer is no. A lot of Jet fans weren't happy because now we can't get a blue-chip quarterback. So, again, we've been in a rebuilding stage since 1969, and people might have thought that, you know what? We'll get Mariota from Oregon, or we'll get Jameis Winston from Florida State, but with a 3 or 4 win season in the mix, you don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, I'm actually one of those people that think that winning is a good thing this year. I know that we have some quarterback issues, but I'm thinking Michael Vick might be the answer this year. He came out and said, if you would have played me earlier, we probably would have won most of our games this year.
I agree. I think that he's one more hit away from, calling it a career. I don't think that Geno is the answer. Maybe if he would have sat a couple of years and learned how to play more of a conventional style quarterback, he might have had a better chance to succeed. Although a lot of Jet fans must have had a sour taste in their mouth last night when they saw Sanchez light it up for 300 and some odd yards.
Oh, the Philadelphia Eagle fans will finally realize that Sanchez is good sometimes, and then there are some times where he's also a butt fumble. So. Yeah,
I know. That's going to be his moniker for the rest of his natural-born NFL career. But you know what? I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him in the sense that he got bruised every week he came out. He took a beating. Again, he couldn't read defenses. Not that Rex is really an offensive-minded coach. He's playing in an aerial attack league in 2014, but I believe he has a 1985 mindset where you have to run the football. It's just not the way that the NFL teams are archetyped to be successful in this day and age.
All right, well, let's dissect a little bit of the divisions now. Let's start with the AFC North. The whole division there is looking strong. Cleveland is actually in the lead with 6 wins, 3 losses. And is Hoyer the answer for the Cleveland Browns?
Well, Cleveland has been gentrified with coming on with the Cavaliers, first of all, with LeBron. And who would have thunk that the Browns would be heading this division? Do I think that Hoyer is an elite or even a second-tier quarterback? The answer is probably no, but I think that he serves as a decent game manager where he won't get the team in trouble. And, in fact, he makes those 4 or 5 pivotal plays a week that will help the team in a position to win. And that's really all you could ask of a quarterback. I think, honestly, Johnny Manziel may become expendable because I think the team is rallying around Hoyer. So I like them. I don't think they're going to end up winning the division.
A little bit on Johnny Manziel. Isn't it? Do you agree that he's actually having a better year this year, having Hoyer as the person that he has to look up to?
Yeah, I think that would have been good for Buffalo's quarterback who may be cut. It might have been a better situation for Geno Smith. It worked out with Andrew Luck. RG3, the jury's out with his constant injuries. But at this point, I like the idea that Manziel's sitting back. They have a proven quarterback, and the team seems to rally around him.
What are the teams doing in this division that is different than any of the teams in the rest of the league? They seem to all have something similar with them.
I think they're similarly inconsistent. You have your guy Andy Dalton from TCU on the Bengals, Red Rifle as his nickname is.
Yeah.
Some days he looks like the second coming of Joe Montana, and some days he looks like the second coming of Browning Nagel, the old Jets quarterback that he has a quarterback rating of 1. He's mired in inconsistency. Baltimore, ever since they gave Flacco that real lucrative contract, making him the number 1 paid quarterback at the time that he signed the contract, they don't have the weapons that they used to have. They have Torrey Smith that could stretch the field. Obviously, the Ray Rice incident really put a lot of external pressures on that squad. The defense is getting a little bit older. Flacco, though, seems to come up decent in big games. Again, I'm not going to pick them to potentially win it. They may be wild card.
Okay, let's go and talk a little bit about the AFC West. Denver, a huge favorite to win their division, may even be the top team in the AFC. Greg, do you think Denver has the talent to make it back to the Super Bowl this year?
They have the talent to make it back to the Super Bowl. The question is, and probably everybody's asking the same question, can Peyton step up in the big game to win? If you're paying somebody to do well in the regular season, then Peyton's worth every penny of his contract. If he has to go to a cold weather where he's not mobile, A, he doesn't have a strong arm, B, and the defense could really lock up the receivers at the line of scrimmage, I think that they're going to be in trouble because Seattle and New England gave a blueprint on how to beat them.
So do you think they're better or worse this year?
I think they're different. I think they're more offensively explosive. I think Emmanuel Sanders gives them the opportunity to stretch the field a little bit more, which allows Demaryius Thomas to work in the slot. Also, Julius Thomas is a fantastic red zone tight end. Welker's taken a few steps back, and I think one too many concussions, so he's not as much as a factor as I thought he'd be. Where I'm concerned right now, Freddie J, is their run game. Hillman's banged up, Monty Ball's banged up, and if you're going to go to a cold weather territory to play a playoff game, I don't think that they're fit. Von Miller's having a very strong season, and with DeMarcus Ware, the way that they jump off the line, I think that they could get to the quarterback. Their secondary to me is a little bit suspect, although I like the Talib pickup. I like them to potentially get back to the AFC Championship game. I wouldn't pick them necessarily to go to Super Bowl.
Okay. Let's talk a little about the South. We know that the Colts are up as the number 1 seed in that division, but Houston, do we have a problem, is what I'm calling this. Do you think the Texans have what it takes to get back into the race?
No. I think that Houston spent a lot of money on defense, and with J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney, they have a great opportunity. For their front four is just fantastic. J.J. Watt's probably the best defensive player in football. Arian Foster had a resurgence. You have a little bit of an older Andre Johnson. You have a nice tight end. But again, they didn't spend as much money as they needed on the quarterback position. I believe they have Mallett now with a former third-round pick of the Patriots. I don't know if Mallett and company gives them enough offensive firepower to make it seriously in the postseason. I don't think that they built their team. They expended their salary cap in the right way to make this team successful in the future.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the AFC East. That's our favorite division because it has our favorite team in it. But the Brady Bunch at 7-2 looks unstoppable at the moment. They have the third highest points per game, third behind Denver Broncos and the Indianapolis Colts. So, Greg, do you see the Patriots going all the way this year, or?
I think, Freddie J, they have the potential. And here's where I think that Brady's the MVP of the league. Gronkowski had, again, a resurgence 3 weeks ago. But aside from that, they have Edelman. That's a nice player, a nice slot receiver. They really don't have a tremendous running game. Brady makes his receivers better. They don't have, really a top-tier offensive personnel, let's I say, even like the Denver Broncos, if you want to say the Colts with T.Y. Hilton. A couple of other teams on paper, I think, have better personnel. Defensively, at times, they've looked very, very suspect. Brady, I have the most confidence in to win a big game with the least amount of talent. Would I bet the house that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl? I'd give them a slight favorite, but I think right now it's too close to call. With respectfully, if everybody stays injury-free, I like probably going through Foxborough, New England, giving them the best chance. And that's going into Week 11.
All right, so we're going to wrap up the AFC. Let's talk about the NFC East. Cowboys, Eagles.
Cowboys, Eagles. You have right now DeMarco Murray, who you can make an argument is the MVP. Every week he's punishing for at least 100 yards, sans one game this season. Fantastic. You would hope that he would take some of the pressure off of Tony Romo. You could arguably say that Dez Bryant is potentially the best receiver in the NFL, especially at this point. The problem is Tony Romo this year is hanging on by a limb. One more shot, and then they have Wwnn coming in, and he just does not have the skill set to bring them to the next level. As we mentioned before in the opening comments, Freddie, Sanchez for the foreseeable future because Nick Foles, I believe, broke his collarbone. Sanchez is known to make mistakes at critical points. Could Chip Kelly's offense camouflage his mistakes? Potentially. I don't know, though, if running 80 plays a game will take enough time off the clock. They certainly have their running backs in Shady, McCoy, and Sproles. But I think when it comes down to the last corner, or they say the final lap, could they play a game that's more conducive to the NFL and less conducive to college, like Oregon putting 70 points up? I like Philadelphia right now. I think that they may have to modify their game and work around Sanchez's strengths more as a ball control offense as opposed to putting it up 60 times a game.
Yeah, I agree. So do you agree that the Eagles at the moment have the lead, but do you think that the Cowboys have a chance to take the division?
The answer is no, because I don't know that Tony Romo right now, they said that he had 2 fractures in his back. I don't know if he should have played last week, if there was benefit in playing against Jacksonville. As it's shown, any team could beat any team on any given Sunday. I probably would have rested him the other week and let him rest down the final stretch to try to ensure his health.
All right, so let's talk about the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers had a big weekend this weekend.
For my money, he's the best quarterback in football. Could their defense hold up? I mean, the way that he's been playing, at least 3 games he was out at halftime because he was so efficient, putting up 6 touchdowns and a half, putting up 5 touchdowns and a half. It actually has hurt some fantasy owners that play in 4-point quarterback leagues. But he's so efficient in what he does. He's mobile enough to keep the defense honest. He's another one I really like their slot receiver, not slot, corner receiver, Jordy Nelson. I really like Reggie Cobb. Are these the best receivers in football? No, but Aaron Rodgers makes them better. Eddie Lacy has been having a less than stellar season for me, and their run game worries me also if they face a real formidable secondary.
But how is the defense doing? We got Clay Matthews on one end.
Their defense, I'm concerned a little bit with their secondary. I do like their safety, Clinton Dix. I think he plays a cerebral game. I like Shields. I like Clay Matthews as well. Again, if they become an offensive juggernaut, they're going to be very, very tough to beat. I thought that Chicago was going to give them a little bit, more of a race, because for my money, with Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, and Matt Forte, you could questionably say that they have the best offensive firepower in the league. But Cutler has just regressed to a point where this team is going to implode. The Vikings just going very, very quickly. I love the acquisition of Teddy Bridgewater. I like what's being done with their offensive game because their running backs are interchangeable. You saw AP go down. Ashanti has been taken over quite well. They run nicely. I like Greg Jennings, and Cordarrelle Patterson could be a game breaker.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Which leads us to the NFC South, which it's anybody's ball game in that division, honestly.
That's been the most disappointing division for me. Last year they were mired with injuries, but Matt Ryan never took that step from being very good to elite. You have Roddy White, which is an excellent complementary receiver. I think they're a little long of tooth in the backfield. And Julio Jones is an excellent receiver. I cannot wrap my hands around why they're so poor offensively. With Carolina, again, Newton is not an accurate passer. I don't think that he looks to his secondary receiver as much. You have a Kelvin Benjamin that can make the incredible catch, but if something in the numbers, he has too many dropsies for me. New Orleans is supposed to have a defensive architect in Rob Ryan, and their defense is god-awful. Breeze has, he's in the lower tier of elite quarterbacks. They have questionably the best tight end in Jimmy Graham. They have a nice complement of running backs. They have good young receivers, but they can't seem to put it together consistently defensively. And we have who's the other one in the South that's been a disappointment?
Tampa Bay.
They're playing better than their record indicates, but they're one of the teams that really have to invest in a first-tier quarterback. They have a nice receiving core. They have a nice defense. They have a third or fourth tier quarterback. You're not going to win with the caliber of quarterback that they have.
Well, I agree, but they are still not out of it. I believe they can make a run for it towards the end if they win out.
I don't think that they have the firepower to win out. Again, I think they're going to be in, let's say, the lottery of the NFL football draft, where they're going to be a top 5, top 6 pick, and I think that they have to invest in a quarterback. Glennon and McCown aren't doing it for me.
Yeah, and that will take us to the NFC West, where Arizona has the best record in National Football League at 8-1. What do you see there?
The question is, could Drew Stanton get him to the finish line? Carson Palmer signs a 3-year, $50 million extension, of roughly $20 million guaranteed. He then, I think, tears his Achilles. He's out for the year. There's no question. He's on IR. Drew Stanton has been very, very serviceable. Not to be a cliche, but he's not a serviceable commodity. He's just not a serviceable commodity. At this point, I would have said that I would have given them a puncher's chance. Not with Drew Stanton right there. I hope they prove me wrong.
Yeah, and what about the Seahawks?
The Seahawks right now, I think losing Golden Tate and potentially losing Percy Harvin, but more so Golden Tate, the chemistry between him and Russell Wilson was so understated last year because they're a run-oriented team. Percy Harvin is a game breaker in that offense. What I like about Russell Wilson is that he doesn't make the big mistake, although he's been throwing a few more picks than he normally has in prior years. I'm not confident. I'm confident that they're going to get to the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to repeat. Right now, I think I'm more comfortable with Green Bay and or Philadelphia than Seattle.
Yeah, and talking a little bit about the trade, what do you think about it, Percy Harvin going to the Jets?
If he's utilized the right way, I don't think that the Jets have a stout offensive commitment. Rex Ryan, who knows if he's going to be the head coach next year, excuse me. You have Michael Vick as the quarterback right now. I say it's suspect. He's on a 1-year contract, $4 million. It's suspect that if he's going to be the quarterback next year. What they're doing with Percy Harvin right now, I think, will prove to be ineffective. I think he's a 15 to 20 play a game changer. I don't think he's a 42 snap offensive player. He's not your prototypical wide receiver. You got to get him in sweeps and let him take advantage on kick returns, punt returns, sweeps, gadget plays. but he's a nice complementary player. At his $10.5 million contract next year, I believe the Jets renegotiate. Is it win-win for the Jets? Yeah, they gave up a conditional draft pick, maybe a fifth rounder. I think it was a fair trade to see if you might have gotten a diamond in the rough. The fact that he's not able to be complimentary in any locker room since high school is scary to me. He just can't coexist on a team, and I think at a certain point that's going to be another iteration. I don't think that there's an incarnation of Percy Harvin.
Well, that sums up our division talk, and let's talk a little bit about this week's matchups coming up. How do you feel about Buffalo and Miami?
Great slate of games this week, Freddie J. Buffalo has been disappointing. Kyle Orton has been fantastic since he took over for E.J. Manuel. He's been fantastic. Miami Dolphins are an enigma. They could play great sometimes, and other times it's just befuddling. With Miami being at home, I like Miami a little bit.
I'm going to go home with Buffalo, actually. That's my pick. What about San Fran and the New York Giants?
San Fran is another one. Kaepernick, I think, took a few steps back. I don't know. I know that Frank Gore is getting to the autumn side of his career, but I do like the fact that I don't like the fact that they're using Hyde as much as they do. Anquan Bolden is a nice possession receiver. He doesn't stretch the field. So the Giants are in such a mess, even though they're going to the East Coast, and normally West Coast teams don't win there. I like San Francisco.
All right, I agree with you. I'm going to go with San Francisco on this one. The Giants haven't had the best luck this year. And let's go to Minnesota and Chicago.
Real quickly, Chicago is a complete enigma to me. They have just too much talent to be this bad. Minnesota's still learning their system and playing with a lot of second-string players. I don't know if it could get much worse for Chicago. If they could stay together, they should win at Soldier Field, but I'll go slight with the Bears.
I'm going to go with Minnesota on this one. They are on a hot streak a little bit. Their goal line offense, with Asiata coming in, scoring a couple touchdowns here or there, they look very strong to me. So that's my pick. Houston at Cleveland.
I'm gonna go with Cleveland. Houston just makes too many offensive mistakes. I think that Cleveland can focus in on Arian Foster. Cleveland seems to have a nice balance between their receiving and their rush game. They control the offense, and Hoyer is a nice game manager. So I'm gonna take Cleveland slight.
I definitely agree with you. Hoyer's definitely changed the dynamic of Cleveland's offense, but I'm going to go with Houston. They're coming off their break. They have Arian Foster, fresh legs. He's also on my fantasy team. I have to go with him.
I'm happy that you're loyal. I know that we got the 4-minute offense in from Freddie Sr., so we got to roll.
All right, so Seahawks at KC.
I have not been overly impressed with the Seahawks. Alex Smith is Dwayne Bowe is healthy again. Real quickly, Charles, and I like their tight end Kelsey. I'm gonna go KC at home.
I agree. Atlanta at Carolina. I think we're both going to agree at this one.
If flip a coin for me, I like Atlanta a little bit better.
Yeah, so do I. Cincinnati at New Orleans.
How bad the Red Rifle play? He could go out and throw for 400 yards. I have a little bit more comfort with New Orleans in the where they're playing in New Orleans, the Superdome.
I like the Saints at home. I'm going with them. Tampa Bay at Washington.
Real quickly, I know you're going to go with Tampa Bay. You said that you may run it out. I like Washington a little bit better. I think Deshaun Jackson could really spread the field. Garcon. I like their offensive talent. Alfred Morris, a local product.
All right, Denver at St. Louis.
Denver. There's too much firepower. St. Louis is not going to be able. Chris Long is out. Their defense is banged up. Denver.
I agree, especially with that big weekend. This weekend, Oakland at San Diego.
Oakland loses too many stupid games. They're not as bad as their record. San Diego right now is... Phillip Rivers is struggling. In the beginning, you could have made a case that he was the MVP. I'm going to go with San Diego. I do think that Oakland's going to win a game or two before it's over.
I'm going to go with Oakland. I think this is the game that they break out.
I just don't like, not at San Diego's house, but you could be right.
Well, we'll see. Eagles at Green Bay.
I'm going to go with Green Bay right now. Aaron Rodgers is too hot, I think, for anybody to stop.
I'm going to go with Green Bay as well. The score just says it itself. Okay, Detroit at Arizona.
Detroit has too much on the line right now. I think that they're going to be adjusting too much to Drew Stanton, and Stafford has to win a game for them.
Yeah, I agree. New England at Indiana.
At Indianapolis, right now, Indianapolis with Andrew Luck. I know that we're running short of time. I like Indianapolis. I think that Andrew Luck takes too many hits, even though he's a big boy. I like New England by a field goal.
A field goal, okay.
Yep.
All right. Pittsburgh at Tennessee.
I like Pittsburgh. I think the Jets humbled them yesterday. I mean, that was a shock, and I think Vegas lost a lot of money this weekend unless they were shrewd in the casinos. I know we're coming down. We got a 1 minute warning, so let's kick. It's first and goal. We're about to get into the end zone, Freddie. Let's go with Pittsburgh to win that game. You've been great. This has been a fun inaugural show, and let's see, Freddie, I think we almost had different picks on every game, so next week we'll recap. We want to thank everybody for listening to our first show, First and Goal with Greg along with Freddie J. We want everybody to have a good week, enjoy fantasy, enjoy the games, and God bless. We'll be here next week, same time.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. Amp2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP2.TV. You have been listening to Taking Care of Business, powered by Amp2.tv. You can reach Amp2.tv by calling 866-224-5422 and join the Amp2.tv radio TV network. We give you all the tools you need to have your own show, both on radio and TV, and bring new energy and ideas to the business you're trying to promote. If you want to be a leader in new concepts and make your business #1 in the area, Amp2.tv has the platforms to get you there. 866-224-5422 is the number to get you started.